Many abuse victims once said, "I will never allow a man to abuse me." Or "that will never be me." Yet, they still ended up as victims. So, what went wrong? The victim isn't at fault. Abusers are expert manipulators and predators. And anyone lacking the tools to recognize the warning signs of potential abuse can fall prey to it. Although most people have been led to believe that partner violence is about anger and frustration, it is far from the truth. In reality, it's about having dominance and control over a partner. These abusive men desire to maintain full control in the relationship. If it was about these men not being able to control their anger and easily getting frustrated, then these men would have more violent encounters with other men, but that just isn't the case. In fact, it's rare to find these men engaging in frequent physical altercations with masculine and dominant men. The making of an abuser. Boys can learn abusive behavior from their environment. Men who witness domestic violence in the household or who experienced physical violence as a child are very likely to become abusers. According to the American Psychological Association, APA, boys who witness domestic violence are twice as likely to abuse their own partners and children when they become adults. Abusers wear a mask of charm and are very charismatic. They have an extraordinary knack for quickly sweeping women off their feet, making them fall head over heels in no time. Abusive men are master manipulators and they are all around us. They are present in our families, communities, places of worship, and workplaces. They often occupy highly respected positions, leading others to mistakenly believe they value their roles too much to act immorally. However, living in a society that reinforces male dominance only exacerbates the problem. They blend in effortlessly because there are no specific physical traits that distinguish them as abusers. They conceal the true nature of who they are, which makes it difficult to identify them until they have caused harm and damage. Abusive men make a conscious decision to be abusive, deceitful, manipulative, and controlling. Decoding the abuser's mind. Abusive men operate from a mind of deep-seated sexism, and it's crucial to understand these patterns to recognize the subtle but harmful nature of abuse. They do not view their victims as a partner or as their equals, they instead view them as their possessions. Their actions are calculated and deliberate when they choose their victims. According to National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey, NIVS, most female victims of domestic violence were previously victimized by the same offender, at rates of 77% for women ages 18 to 24, 76% for ages 25 to 34, and 81% for ages 35 to 49. They will choose the one they believe can be easily controlled and manipulated. The ones who are more vulnerable and more likely to be controlled and manipulated, such as being young, naive, less experienced, having low self-esteem, a history of trauma, are highly empathetic and dependent, and those that lack a strong support system. Women who fall into any of these categories should take steps to understand the dynamics of manipulation and control to prevent becoming victims. Also, those who have family or friends who fall into any of these categories should raise awareness about these dynamics to help prevent abuse and support those who may be vulnerable. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, NCADV, domestic violence is primarily about power and control. One of their initial tactics is to isolate their partners out of a sense of ownership, possessiveness, and jealousy. By controlling their social connections, they restrict their partner's support system and their ability to see how they are being manipulated. Abusers see women as inferior and seek to prevent their independence, preferring them to rely entirely on them. By controlling finances, they limit access to resources, ensuring dependence and keeping them in an undesirable relationship. The impact on victims. Abuse impacts the victim far beyond the physical scars. The constant threat of violence can destroy a woman's self-worth, leaving her feeling like a prisoner and powerless. The trauma from abuse leaves behind deep emotional and psychological scars. The physical health of abuse victims can be affected by coping mechanisms like substance use, as well as chronic conditions such as headaches, chronic stress, hypertension, and diabetes. Their future relationships may suffer due to reduced social interactions, trust issues, and difficulty forming healthy connections. Sleep disturbances, nightmares, insomnia, and panic attacks may compromise their overall well-being. Victims end up struggling with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and fear during and long after they're no longer in an abusive relationship. Abuse also impacts women who are professionals, powerful and influential. They worry that if the abuse becomes public, it may affect their reputation and how they are perceived in their professional circles. The pressure to maintain a strong, unshaken public image can make it difficult for powerful women to seek help or speak out about their abuse. Fear of judgment from peers, colleagues, customers, and the public can discourage them from seeking help or speaking out. The public nature of their roles can lead to a loss of privacy and increased scrutiny when dealing with abuse. Breaking the cycle. Abusers frequently avoid accountability by shifting blame onto their victims or using their charm to create doubt or skepticism. If they hold influential titles or positions within the community, they can evade responsibility due to their well-regarded and friendly persona, making their harmful actions seem unthinkable. Additionally, wealth allows them to afford significant financial resources to sway outcomes in their favor. Having the criminal justice system hold abusers accountable is only one part of the solution. Restraining orders can offer protection but are not always effective. Preventing abusers from contacting their victims by phone or by mail to manipulate them and persuade them to drop the charges would be extremely beneficial for the victim. Domestic violence treatment programs for abuser are essential in addressing the root causes of their behavior. These programs hold abusers accountable while focusing on their beliefs about power and control and promoting empathy and accountability. Preventing abuse. To prevent abuse, we must be able to recognize the warning signs and intervene early. There are red flags that will indicate a potential for abuse. Early detection is crucial from those on the outside looking in to provide support to those at risk. A common warning sign is controlling behavior in the attempt to isolate their partner from loved ones. This behavior stems from jealousy and possessiveness. Another red flag is love bombing, an intense and overwhelming display of affection, attention, and admiration that is showered upon the potential victim before the relationship begins or during the early stages of a relationship. It can involve lavish compliments, grand gestures, constant communication, and promises of a future together. The purpose of love bombing is to quickly create a false sense of intimacy, establish a deep emotional connection, and gain dependence, control, or influence over the other person. It is a manipulative behavior that doesn't have any genuine intentions. Recognizing these warning signs and addressing them early can prevent a relationship from becoming dangerous. If you or someone you know is in a dangerous relationship, domestic violence advocates are available to help 24/7 by phone. Call 1-800-799-7233. If you enjoyed this video and found it to be educational and insightful, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out our playlist for more videos on relationships.